Hi, I'm Nicole, and as you have probably guessed, I have ADHD. I live and breathe all things ADHD in my personal, family, and professional life. I have a background in psychology and special education, and I've gained a lot of knowledge over the years about ADHD, what it really is, how it touches every aspect of your life and the life of your child, as well as a wealth of information and strategies for living with ADHD and parenting kids with ADHD. In this community, we share stories, we learn together, and we support each other as we navigate all things ADHD. Welcome. Hi, and welcome. I'm Nicole, and I have ADHD. This first video, I just wanted to introduce myself and give a little bit more background for why I'm creating this channel and what I intend to do here. I have ADHD. I'm also a parent of multiple kids who have ADHD, among other mental health diagnoses. My educational background is in psychology and special education. I have a master's degree in special ed. I spent the majority of my teaching years in a unit for kids with severe behavior and emotional disorders. Before I left teaching to stay home with my young kids while my husband was still in graduate school. Now, I am still parenting those kids, but they're a little bit older. I'm getting a little bit of my own time back. It does happen eventually. And I'm working as an ADHD parenting coach and executive function coach. And most of my days spent running a clinic here in Utah with my husband, who is a licensed psychologist who specializes in ADHD, autism, and learning disabilities. Our clinic is focused entirely on neurodevelopment. So basically, I live and breathe all things ADHD all day, every day in my personal and professional life. Funnily enough, I was only diagnosed just a few years ago, and that diagnosis really changed my perspective on my life and my past quite a bit. I'll share more about that in a future video. But today, I just wanted to introduce myself and explain a little bit about why I decided to start this channel. So, a little over a year ago, my hyper-focus led me down a rabbit hole. If you have ADHD, you know what I'm talking about. Of course, this is one that I never really expected. I've been a Johnny Depp fan for years. Chocolat is one of my all-time favorite movies, probably in my top 3. And I was following House and Habit on Instagram. If you're not following her, you need to be. She's fantastic. But because of some of her posts, I got really interested in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, as many of us did. I wanted to know what really happened. And when Johnny took the stand, I started watching all day, every day. Sometimes watching the same testimony over and over again. I watched every minute I could live on YouTube and caught up when I couldn't watch live. My ADHD hyperfocus latched on, and I stumbled upon what is sometimes referred to as LawTube, legal commentators who were live streaming the trial and giving really helpful commentary and explanations of what was going on in court. I was hooked. Well, since then, I've consumed hours of LawTube content. Hours and hours and hours. I've fallen in love with some of the personalities on those channels and the community that they've created. But last summer, during a hilarious Friday night live stream, a group of some of my favorite personalities were talking about all kinds of topics. Emily D. Baker, Rob from Lawn Lumber, Ian Runkle from Runkle of the Bailey, and Rick Hogue from Hogue Law were having a great time, as were all of us in the chat. The live interaction with the chat, getting hashtag WhatDaddyStacks trending on Twitter, It was to this day one of my favorite streams. And I'd never really gotten into the live streaming thing on YouTube until that trial. But over the course of that particular stream, Emily, Rob, and Ian were trying to explain how their ADHD works to Rick Hogue. And how that thinking that he could not possibly see as linear was, in fact, linear to an ADHD brain. That was the first time I thought, I could totally do a full channel on this topic. I've been on Instagram teaching about ADHD for years, but I'd never thought about getting on this platform until that night. I've been a chicken for a year now, waiting. But I've seen how those conversations have helped people in that community and across YouTube, Twitter, and all of the various channels in which those of us in those chats have connected. I've seen how they help people in answering questions, in sharing about their ADHD and not being ashamed of it. And I've seen the benefit as they weave those conversations through their legal commentary. So I've been sharing on Instagram and oversharing with anyone who will listen all about ADHD for years. What it's like to live with it, what it's like to parent it, all the ways it impacts life. For several years, I've done a weekly Clubhouse room with another ADHD parenting coach who became a dear friend. But the thing that I loved most about Clubhouse was the interaction and Q&A. Over the last year, I found that the communities fostered here on YouTube can be a powerful force for good, and the desire to create a place for those who have questions and those of us who are ADHDers can gather to discuss and support one another. It's taken a bit of time for me to gather the courage to start this channel, and possibly just as long to figure out all of the tech to do it, but I'm very excited to be here, to provide the safe place to ask questions, learn together, share stories, and help one another. So here's what I have planned for this channel: live streams. Because for ADHD, sometimes the planning part is where we get stuck. Particularly for me, I get stuck in analysis paralysis in trying to prep so much that I never start. So live streams will be times to just chat, hopefully do some interviews with guests, reviewing new research that comes out, articles that I find particularly helpful with ADHD. I happen to have a good backdoor into all of that with our clinic. We get access to new research and journals and books, and you should see the bookshelves we have about ADHD and other neurodevelopmental topics. Hopefully, at some point, I can convince my husband to come on for some Q&A with a psychologist who specializes in ADHD. I'm also really looking forward to the idea of live body doubling streams. If you haven't heard of body doubling for ADHD, get ready. It's so helpful to just have someone to work alongside of and then take scheduled breaks together. So we can all get more done and be more productive by having a group of body doubles to help keep us on track. I'm planning to also record podcast episodes around the topic of my ADHD story, interviews and stories about the path to diagnosis and what ADHD looks like for a variety of people. For videos, a little shorter than the live streams, most likely, tips, tricks, and helpful information for you to learn from and to share with other people in your life. We all know how hard it can be to not have people around us really understand what we're going through. Or sometimes sharing just the right video with just the right person can really help them out. So that's my plan for the channel. I really just want to create a community because we need support as we are living with ADHD. It can be really isolating. It can be really isolating to parent kids with ADHD as well. So many misconceptions and misunderstandings out there about what ADHD is and what it isn't. And I would like to just help us to be able to have those conversations, to help educate and help us feel like we have a place where we belong. That's definitely one thing that I've noticed with my own ADHD over my lifespan, but particularly as I'm parenting my kids, is that finding that safe place and that community can be a lot harder than I would like. But here we're safe. Here we're supported, and this community is going to do great things. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you'll join me in the future and that we can get to know each other in this great community on this platform that provides for that. This is going to be a place of positivity, of growth, of support, and hopefully some fun along the way. Please take the time to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so we can grow and expand this awesome community, because having a group of people who get it is invaluable. So until next time, remember, you're not alone. You are not broken. And you're doing better than you think you are. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. This video is not a substitute for counseling, psychotherapy, medical, or mental health care. The information and advice shared here should not be used in place of any form of diagnosis, treatment, or therapy. Information provided here does not involve diagnosis or treatment of medical or mental or psychological disorders. If you feel the need for professional support, please seek a local professional in your area. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only.